Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tissue Link Americas. I am joined today by Hector Hurtado, who is our Latino America correspondent, I guess. Collaborator is probably the right word. Hey, Hector, thank you for joining us again today.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm always excited to talk about topics related to the tissue industry. For those of you, again, maybe you're new, this is a once-a-month feature that we're doing for Tissue Online. And we're basically just touching on a couple of topics related to the tissue industry, maybe some hot topics that happened this month. And, you know, we're just not even debating, but just going over these topics and just to bring some relevant information for those of you who may be joining us on podcast or viewing this live or not live, but over LinkedIn or whatever other format you're joining us on. So Hector, I think what one of the most interesting topics probably happening right now is something we talked about last month as well that's carried over to this month, which is the capacity at many factories around the world, particularly in America and Latin America. Last month, we reported that many of these companies still aren't producing as much as they were during the pandemic or maybe even pre-pandemic, that they're filling their warehouses now waiting for the market to return as people still have a large amount of supply of toilet paper and paper products in general. Is that continuing in Latin America? What are you seeing down there?
Yes, a variety of companies, they have reported that obviously their sales, they are lower than first quarter of 2020. And that for a good reason, right? 2020 was the boom, the explosion of the pandemic. And a lot of our clients, you know, they were busy making just toilet paper before buying left and right. Toilet paper. But for example, Grupo Familia in Colombia, they reported a 7% drop first quarter this year compared to last year. Same thing with Kimberly-Clark in Chile. They reported a 5% drop compared to last year. But they still have a positive outlook for the remaining of the year. For example, they expect to bring this number up 12% as the markets somewhat regulate themselves, and as the pandemic plays out. Each country obviously is a bit different in terms of their consequences of the pandemic. Some countries are still in full lockdown or 90-80% lockdown. Other countries are obviously opening up a little bit more because they rely a lot on tourism too, And as North America and Europe gets more of the population vaccinated, they're able to travel more to these countries. Yeah. Obviously, that re-energizes the economy a little bit on this country. But, excuse me, in a way, that has pushed these companies to innovate on the products too. You know? A lot of them obviously have been promoting sustainable packaging with recycled material, also recycle raw material to make the paper products. Yeah. But also they have launched, obviously, the face masks, a lot of them, soaps for hand washing and personal care, and obviously improving their e-commerce as well. So their clients or distributors can reach their information and products in a faster manner. But North America, if you want to share with us.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. I think companies are looking for ways to diversify. I think the name of the game always is what makes you unique to your competition, right? If everyone's offering the same products, you really need to stick out in a certain way. So I think diversification of products, along with what you mentioned that as I'm making my visits this month to different mills and factories producing these products, you can still tell that production is not up to full speed yet. And this is a good time to innovate, to reach maximum efficiency on your machines. We're seeing a lot of suppliers now being able to enter all these factories and mills to upgrade machines, to improve processes. A lot of the major tissue manufacturers, have innovation teams, have project leads, and this is an ongoing 24/7 a day, 24/7 process at many of these places. But a lot of the smaller players and mid-level players don't have the same resources to be able to do this. But I would say now is a good time to collaborate with your suppliers and come up with different ways to improve your efficiency to be able to compete on a higher level. But along with that, like you said, companies are diversifying their products, adding more product lines. This is a good time to do it. The the acceleration of the use of the mask in North America, where prior to the pandemic, we didn't have a lot of companies producing masks in this country. So a lot of companies have now invested in this type of machinery because we can't be left out on the cold again. If something like this happens again, you have the resource to be able to quickly produce the mask. There's no need to import it. But in the United States, you know, the topic of the mask is, for whatever reason, it's a hot topic, right? You're on one side of the fence in regards to the mask. And I think the majority of the people probably don't want to wear the mask if there's no reason to wear the mask. So I think companies will still have it as a product line to be able to offer. And we have to see, what we're waiting on to see is how the habits of the consumer change. Is it going to be an everyday use product, or is it going to be something you keep, you know, in your car, something you keep at a desk, just in case? If you're traveling, you know, I'm almost want to say that it's going to be kind of a cultural standard to have the mask on. So we have to, that's a wait and see kind of thing. But, you know, definitely companies are investing in wet wipes, all different types of non-wovens as well for companies that traditionally never got involved in that. Companies are now jumping in the game because they're seeing that is a product that is being accepted in the market. So, that being said, is there anything else in Latin America that you see relevant that would be interesting for people in North America to know about?
I do, and I think really depends on the country itself. Obviously, the region follows what happens in North America and in Europe. You know, in a way, they're all interconnected. But if you look at countries like, for example, Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, even Venezuela, Panama, Honduras, Guatemala, these are countries that are investing in machinery right now, converting machinery. They're investing in new lines for roll products, some of them for napkin products, but you see the investment still there for these countries. And other countries, they're a little bit more stagnant at the moment. Argentina, Mexico, they're probably consolidating some of their operations into centralized operations, because obviously that's probably what the market and the way they're set up at the moment demand from them. But all in all, I think the industry is in a good state. Obviously, we're dealing with a high increase in raw material costs, and we still have a shortage of shipping containers. But all in all of the companies have a positive forecast for the numbers for the remaining of the year. And that's good for us that are involved in the industry, and for our subscribers and people that follow us, that the industry is still in good shape for the months to come. So we'll see how that develops, how prices are going to adjust themselves too, and how this capacity to produce products are going to either ramp up again, or they're going to stabilize at the levels that we have discussed. So.
You know, it'll be interesting to see as well, as away from home in the United States, it's a larger market.
Yes.
And, you know, all the stadiums now have announced that they're going to allow full capacity at the arenas. You know, for football, definitely coming up in the fall here, all of them are going to be allowing full capacity. So are we going to see the reverse? Are we going to see companies that have been producing toilet paper change their machines over now to produce away from home products? Because I don't know if the demand for at home will still probably be low in a few months, not as high as it was before. But away from home, I think the people that are producing that can finally breathe and say, hey, it's coming back. And it'll probably be here for a while, as long as we stay away from all these pre-pandemic or during stuff related to the pandemic, and some of these places open up again. Away from home in Latin America, how big of a market is it? Is it something that manufacturers are excited about?
Away from home is not as big in Latin America as it is in the US, but it's definitely a growing market. We see companies launching or releasing products for the away from home. So we see that they're gearing up for that market as the pandemic eases. However, if you look at the region, the vaccination rates are still lower than probably North America and maybe Europe. So that market might take a little bit longer to come back, or even to continue growing. But it's definitely there. I do agree that in North America, if public venues continue to open up, I do see the away from home converters to have a busy end of summer and busy fall, most likely, and they're probably gearing up their operations.
That's what I was going to say. Hopefully they're preparing now.
Yeah,
and I'm sure they are.
They're gearing up. So, and that will be all in all good for the market as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting how it plays out.
No, thank you for that. I think the last topic I wanted to bring up was the advent maybe, or the growing trend of e-commerce for paper products. Maybe 10 years ago, this was probably a foreign notion. Like, people didn't really, why would I buy my toilet paper online, right? But now, as companies like Amazon and even Walmart, everyone's going more and more to e-commerce. And within our industry, I would say the major manufacturers have dedicated e-commerce teams to promote their products online for the sale of online, right? And you can buy any format now. And with the ability, companies like Amazon Prime offer free shipping. In the United States, I won't say every family or every household buys this way, but we're used to buying in bulk. And if you only have to buy toilet paper once or twice a year because it lasts that long when you're buying it in bulk, that's, light bulb, you would buy that online. You don't have to go to the store, put it in your car. It just gets delivered to your house, and it's an afterthought at that point. So I think the development of e-commerce is something to watch. I think that's going to keep growing more and more in popularity as, the distribution routes in North America have been it's well established. You can get toilet paper the same day if you need it. So what about Latin America? Is that a growing trend? Has it started? What are you seeing?
It is a growing trend, but mostly with the major producers. The medium-sized and small-sized producers, they're not there yet. But the major producers, for example, Grupo Familia, Softis, even P&G, Kimberly-Clark, they do have a well-developed portals for e-commerce and for the distributors and end users to not only buy the products, but to have information of new releases and the specification of all of their products. So that's something that they developed quite well. And obviously the pandemic very likely accelerated e-commerce for a lot of them, and it only enhanced for a lot of them. But I don't think it's a common thing right now to buy toilet paper online in Latin America, unless you live in a very big city and this resource is available for the delivery, right? But it probably will transition into that because, as you mentioned, Amazon is a good example, right? People buy a lot of product through Amazon these days. They have the flexibility of having delivered to their door, sometimes even same day in the US. So that will definitely be something to look at. But a lot of the bigger companies, they do have their e-commerce set up in a way that consumers can go and find out about the products and how to buy them as well.
Sure. I think that's definitely something to watch worldwide as we keep improving our ability to be able to distribute products to end users. That's going to be it's only going to be a growing trend.
Yeah,
I think. I don't think it's going the other way. So anyway, thank you so much, Hector. I think those are some good topics we brought up. Hopefully you watching and listening have found some value in some of the topics and maybe made you think about other ways to innovate and produce, maybe change buying habits. The point of this conversation is just to bring some topics up to the table and for you to decide what to do with it. So thank you, Hector, so much for the time. We'll see you next month.
All righty. Thank you.